The Persian Empire is the name given to a series of dynasties centered in modern-day Iran that spanned several centuries, from the 6th century BC to the 20th century AD. The greatest empires in history, from the Balkan Peninsula of Europe in the west to the Indus Valley in the east of India. This Iron Age dynasty, sometimes called the Achaemenid Empire, was the world center of culture, religion, science, art, and technology for more than 200 years before it fell to the invading armies of Alexander the Great. Cyrus the Great. The Iranian Empire began as a collection of semi-nomadic tribes that raised sheep, goats and cattle on the Iranian plateau. Cyrus the Great, the leader of one of these tribes, began to defeat the neighboring kingdoms, including Media, Lydia and Babylon, and united them under one rule. He founded the First Iranian Empire, also known as the Achaemenid Empire, in 550 BC. The First Iranian Empire under the leadership of Cyrus the Great soon became the world's first superpower. It united three important places of early human civilization in the ancient world under one state: Mesopotamia, the Nile Valley of Egypt and the Indus Valley of India. Cyrus the Great is immortalized in the Cyrus cylinder, a clay cylinder inscribed in 539 BC with the story of how Babylon was conquered by King Nabonidus, the end of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. Darius the Great, the fourth king of the Achaemenid Empire, when the Persian Empire was at its largest, stretched from the Caucasus and Western Asia to what was then Macedonia, modern Balkans, the Black Sea, Central Asia, and even to that time, Africa, including parts of Libya and Egypt. He unified the empire through the introduction of a standard currency in weights and measures, converting Aramaic into an official language and building roads. The Bischan inscription, a multilingual relief carved on Mount Bischan in western Iran, praises his virtues and was an important key to deciphering cuneiform. Its impact has been compared to the Rosetta Stone, the tablet that enabled researchers to decipher Egyptian hieroglyphs. Whereas Fars. At its height under Darius the Great, the Iranian Empire stretched from the European Balkan Peninsula, in parts of present-day Bulgaria, Romania and Ukraine, to the Indus Valley in northwestern India and south to Egypt. Persians were the first people who established regular communication routes between the three continents of Africa, Asia and Europe. They built many new roads and developed the world's first postal service. Persian culture. The ancient Persians of the Achaemenid Empire created art in various forms, including metalwork, rock carving, weaving, and architecture. With the expansion of the Iranian Empire to other artistic centers of the early civilization, a new style was formed with the influence of these sources. Early Iranian art consisted of large carved stone reliefs cut into the rocks, such as those found at Naqsh-e, an ancient cemetery filled with the tombs of Achaemenid kings. Elaborate rock wall paintings depict equestrian scenes and battle victories. Ancient Iranians were also known for metalworking. In the 1870s, smugglers discovered gold and silver artifacts among the ruins near the Oxus River in present-day Tajikistan. These artifacts included a small golden chariot, coins and bracelets decorated with griffin motifs. The griffin is a legendary creature with the wings and head of an eagle and the body of a lion and the symbol of the Iranian capital of Persepolis. British diplomats and members of the military serving in Pakistan brought approximately 180 pieces of gold and silver, known as the Oxus treasure, to London and are now housed in the British Museum. The history of carpet weaving in Iran goes back to the nomadic era. The ancient Greeks treasured the art of these hand-woven rugs, known for their intricate designs and bright colors. Today, most Iranian carpets are made of wool, silk and cotton. Persepolis. Takht-Jamshid, the ancient capital of Iran, located in the south of Iran, is among the largest archaeological sites in the world. This place was included in the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1979. Achaemenid palaces of Persepolis are built on huge terraces. They were decorated with decorative facades that included the tall rock carvings that the ancient Persians were famous for. Persian religion. Persian religion. Many people think of Iran as synonymous with Islam, although Islam only became the dominant religion in the Persian Empire after the Arab conquests in the 7th century. The first Iranian empire was formed by another religion, Zoroastrianism. The Zoroastrian religion, named after the Persian prophet Zoroaster, also known as Zarathustra, is one of the oldest monotheistic religions in the world. Today, it is still prevalent as a minority religion in parts of Iran and India. Zoroaster, who probably lived between 1500 and 500 BCE, taught followers to worship one god rather than the many gods worshipped by earlier Indo-Persian groups. Achaemenid kings were religious Zoroastrians. By most accounts, Cyrus the Great was a tolerant ruler who allowed his subjects to speak their own languages and practice their own religion. While he ruled based on the Zoroastrian law of Asha, truth and righteousness, he did not impose Zoroastrianism on the people of the conquered lands of Iran. How Cyrus the Great turned ancient Iran into a superpower. The king of Iran, Cyrus the Great, a very tolerant and kind ruler, established one of the largest empires in world history. Through extensive military conquests and benevolent rule, Cyrus the Great turned a small group of semi-nomadic tribes into the mighty Iranian Empire, the first superpower of the ancient world, in less than 15 years. The appearance of Cyrus the Great. Born around 600 BC, the founder of the first Iranian Empire, also known as the Achaemenid Empire, belonged to the semi-nomadic Pasargad tribe that raised sheep, goats and cattle in the southwest of present-day Iran. Little is known definitively about the youth or lineage of Cyrus the Great, also known as Cyrus II, except that he was part of the Achaemenid royal family by birth or marriage. 5 years after ascending to the throne in 558 BC as a puppet king of the Median Empire, which controlled most of present-day Iran, Cyrus united the heads of other Iranian tribes and led a rebellion against the Median king Astyages. Aided by a fugitive Median general, Cyrus defeated Astyages' forces at the Battle of Pasargadi and captured the capital Ecbatana in 550 BC. The Persians, who were once subjugated, had been conquered. However, instead of taking revenge, he showed kindness and restraint as the ruler of Cyrus. He granted Astyages a princely pension, kept Ecbatana intact as his summer capital, and gave the Median nobles high positions in his court and army. But his mercy had limits. He killed Astyages' son-in-law and grandsons because he saw them as a threat to his power. Cyrus conquered Lydia and expanded his empire. Had occupied the current Turkey, upset him. When Croesus was thinking of an attack on the growing power of neighboring Iran, he sent a messenger to consult the Greek oracle at Delphi. The medium of the gods is said to have reported, "If Croesus goes to war, he will destroy a great empire." Delighted by the divine message, Croesus led a huge army across the Halys River and attacked the Persians in 547 BC. After an indecisive battle, Cyrus pursued the retreating Lydian forces in the cold of winter. The side of the capital Sardis surprised them. Harpagus, The offending Median general outnumbered his Persian forces at the decisive Battle of Timbra, mounted cavalry on the army's pack camels and placed them in front of the battle line. The stench of the camels so repulsed the Lydian horses that they left the battlefield. The Lydians retreated inside the walls of Sardis and finally surrendered after being surrounded by the Persians. The words of the oracle proved true to Croesus. An empire had been destroyed, but it was his. Like the Medes, Cyrus took a conciliatory approach with the Lydians. He kept the treasury in Sardis and brought Croesus to his court. He allowed local cultures, religions, and laws to be preserved, which helped him win the loyalty of his new subjects. Cyrus was able to quickly absorb or dominate the existing administrative structures of the places he conquered, often leaving local elites in place, says John Wiley, professor of history at the University of California, Santa Barbara. However, the Persian king's leniency was hardly absolute. When the nobles in charge of Lydia's treasury revolted, Cyrus executed the rebels and enslaved their followers. After conquering Lydia, General Harpagus brutally besieged the Greek settlements in Ionia, forcing many to emigrate to Italy and leave entire cities. There are many mythologies, both ancient and modern, about Cyrus as a benevolent ruler, says Lee. While Cyrus was certainly tolerant of local customs and religions, and although he worked with local elites, contemporary documents such as cuneiform tablets show that the Persian Empire, like all empires, relied on the extraction of wealth and labor, including from through slavery, has been centralized. The people he conquered. Iranian forces caused the fall of Babylon. As the Iranian Empire grew, its army was strengthened. Cyrus created an elite corps of mounted warriors who were skilled archers and wielded chariots with blades attached to wheels. His troops seem to have been highly motivated and well-trained, and Cyrus himself seems to have been an inspirational leader, says Lee. It seems that even in winter he was able to move his armies faster than his enemies anticipated. After his army conquered the lands of eastern Iran, Cyrus thought of conquering the last remaining power in Western Asia, the Neo-Babylonian Empire. In 539 BC, Persian forces invaded the rich and fertile empire and defeated the Babylonian army to capture the strategic city of Apis on the Tigris River. A week later, the Iranian army reached the walls of Babylon, the largest city in the ancient world, and captured it without a fight. According to the Cyrus cylinder, a clay barrel fragment with Babylonian cuneiform inscriptions discovered in 1879, the Persian king triumphantly entered Babylon, amid rejoicing and rejoicing. Shortly after the fall of Babylon, Cyrus freed the Babylonian Jews who had been forced into captivity 50 years earlier after the destruction of the Jerusalem temple by Nebuchadnezzar II. Many of them, who were freed from Babylonian exile, returned to their spiritual home in Jerusalem. The Old Testament book of Isaiah praises Cyrus as God's anointed one, to subdue the nations before him and remove kings from their weapons. With the conquest of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, the Persian Empire expanded from the Aegean Sea in the west to the Indus River in the east. Cyrus had created one of the largest empires the ancient world had ever seen and could boast, according to the Cyrus cylinder, Cyrus, king of the world. Cyrus dies, but the Persian Empire lives. Little is known about Cyrus' death, which occurred around 529 BC. According to some accounts, he died of a battlefield wound during a campaign on the eastern frontiers of the empire. His body was brought back to Pasargad, placed in a golden coffin and rested in a huge stone grave facing the rising sun. Cyrus was succeeded by his son Cambodia II, who continued to expand the borders of the empire by conquering another ancient civilization in Egypt. The Iranian Empire remained prosperous and stable for 2 centuries until it fell to the army of Alexander the Great in 330 BC.